Chucky, over to your left. You guys took a lot of threes in that first half. At the beginning of the second half, it looked like you tried to post up and get to the paint early. I'm assuming Greg talked to you guys about attacking the paint early to start the second half.
For sure. That was the message before Coach Gard even walked in the locker room. We just talked with ourselves, and we knew we had to get in the paint more because we fell away from that, and that's what was making us win and extend the lead. So, yeah.
We Todd in the back for
Stephen, how big was the three-pointer to start the second half for you, though, to kind of launch what ended up being a pretty good start and then a pretty good rest of the second half, too, for you?
Oh, yeah, I think it was all the threes, honestly, not just that one. It felt good to finally hit some shots because I know I've been struggling lately, earlier this season with my three-point shot. So just shout out to the team, and especially these two guys set me up a couple times for some good open shots. So it like you said, it just felt good to hit some threes finally.
right up front here.
For Steven, just was there any, 20 of your 25 points were after halftime, just was there any point in trying to get more involved in the offense early on in the second half, or just what kind of changed things there for you?
I think kind of like Chucky said, we kind of got away from touching the post. So as you guys saw in the second half, we put more of an emphasis on getting the ball down low, whether it was me, Tyler, Chucky, got down there a couple times. So it's not necessarily just the big guys, but then once we do get it down there, it's about finishing it in the paint too.
Right here in front.
Chucky, obviously, Steven's not going to give you guys 25 points every night, but what does it mean to this offense when his game's clicking like that and he's feeling that confident?
For sure. You saw it here tonight. It just expands the floor a lot more. It allows me to get downhill a lot more and find Steve like I did a couple times. And then it allows the pick and pop as well. So, when Steve's playing like that, we're a very hard team to beat.
Jeff.
Jordan, over to the left here. Just in general, are you getting more comfortable as the season goes on with your role, what you can do, what your strengths are to help this team?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One thing about this team, like, we're all for each other. We all want each other to succeed, and that's what we take pride in. We want to be successful, and we can't do it alone. So we all need to come together as a team, and we've been good so far about that.
Jeff, then Todd.
A quick follow-up. You missed some three-pointers today, but hit a big one today. There have been a couple times this year where you have missed three-pointers badly, but hit big three-pointers. How do you forget about a miss? And like the overtime game at Marquette, the overtime game at Iowa, hit a big shot like that when the pressure's on.
Yeah, just got to have a shooter's mentality. The next one's going to go in. So I just try to stay confident in my shot, and I trust my shot. So just that.
Todd in the back.
Stephen, the drive and dunk and then the alley-oop from Chucky, it seemed like that kind of punctuated your night. How did you see those develop, especially the one that you drove on to get to the rim there? What did you see on that, and how did you make that play happen?
I gotta give that to Chuck on that one. He dropped two good dimes to me for dunks on that, and the first one kind of in transition, me and Chucky like to rub off each other, and I like to set a ball screen and roll for him, and he hit the good pocket pass, and I finished it, and then the second one we drew up in the huddle, and he made a great pass, and I dunked that one down too. So courtesy to Chuck.
Right here in front.
To any of y'all, I know it's 2 weeks apart, but this is the second straight game where y'all have kind of struggled in the first half, then have really kind of poured it on in the second. What do you think explains, A, the slow starts, and B, the way you've been able to put things together in the second half?
I believe we started this game very well. The first 10 minutes, 9 minutes of the first half is when we stepped on the neck. But like I said, we went away. In that first 11 minutes, we went away from touching the post, and that's what really killed us. We're a really hard team to beat when we're touching the post a lot and playing from the inside because Steve's either going to find us or score it himself. So we just got to play through the post a lot more and just keep our foots on the gas. We can't let up. That's what we did in the first half.
Jeff.
Stephen, you mentioned the three-pointers you hit. Last year, you guys, that was not a strength of that team. I think there were only 7 games where you guys hit 10 or more threes. You're already up to 6 games this season. Did you anticipate coming into this season that this team would be better, maybe deeper from three-point range, have more guys who could be threats from there?
I think so. This offseason, we all worked super hard in our shot. We were all in the gym early and stayed after practice. And then getting guys like Jordan and Max, who are, I consider them snipers. And Connor, obviously, we all know he's a sniper. So just getting guys like that that come in here and play, and obviously, like you said, knock down those threes, and it's shown this season so far.
One more question. Todd, go ahead.
Jordan, what's the toughest part about having more than 2 weeks off from game action? You can practice all you want, but getting back into game, what were the difficulties in that, and how did that maybe play out at any point tonight?
Yeah, I mean, physically, like, you're not really working as much. We got a couple of days off, so your body gets time to rest, and you kind of, like, maybe get a little holiday weight, eating some turkey and stuff. But, yeah, coming in, that we got to have the same mentality as we had coming in the start of the season. So we want to just keep that sharp mentality and do all of the little things that gets us these W's.
Okay. We've got time for one more. Go ahead, right here, please.
I don't know if any of y'all watched it last night, but Central Michigan and MAC team beats Michigan. How much did that come up at all before the game? Was there any reminder not to let did anyone bring up that game at all?
Yeah, for sure. Coach definitely mentioned it, but that just shows you what happens all around college basketball. Anybody could get upset any night, so that's why we got to bring our A game every night we step on the floor.
Obviously, good to be back and playing. I know our guys were excited about tonight to get back on the court, and it's been a long layoff. But I think for us, in the big picture, it's been good for us to take a little time to. Obviously, they get a lot of days at home with their families, and but also from a standpoint of with the accumulation of our summer and our trip to France, and summer was longer than normal and fall is shorter than normal. So anytime you could take it, if there was ever a year to be able to take a 5-day break that normally would never get, this was the time to do it. So thought we practiced pretty well leading up to today and tonight, and I thought for the most part we did a lot of good things. Credit to Western Michigan. I thought on film they were better than what they record showed on paper, and forced them into a lot of tough twos and some tougher threes, and they were able to make some at times, but we were more consistent in the second half of playing through the paint, and it showed in terms of what we did offensively, and then helped get us our defense set so we could get some separation. So ready to get back into league play and start preparing for Minnesota tomorrow. Questions?
Todd in the back. Coach.
Greg, to what extent did you expect rust, and what did you see in terms of how they practiced to maybe not let that happen?
Yeah, I think, I didn't expect – there's always going to be some sort of timing issue, but I thought for most part our timing was pretty good. We had a couple miscues in the first half. Tyler tried to zip one to Max that probably shouldn't have thrown. Those things, and Chucky threw one out. I was wide open on the sideline when he threw it to me from the other end of the floor, a little out of my range. But, just some of those things that I thought as the game went on, I felt we would get better with those things, and we did. Chucky, obviously 5 assists, 1 turnover, and for the team to not turn it over at all the second half just shows that we were more in sync. I think you're always cognizant of doing enough but not doing too much, and I think I've changed my thoughts on that as my career has gone on. We do enough, but also it's most important that they're fresh and healthy for tonight and what's coming down the road.
Jeff.
You mentioned what's coming down the road. I mean, this team obviously has played a bunch of close games, and you've flourished in that, but that can take a toll mentally. Do the players need a night like this where they can at least look up the scoreboard late and the game's in hand, and they can be on the bench and just relax, even just for a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's good for them, but it's also good for the guys that are in there at the end too. To get 2.5 minutes for Marcus, and a little extra time for Kamari, and those guys, because there's going to be points in time, not knowing when, that they're going to have more than 2.5 minutes. So I think it's good all the way around, and I really, is knowing this was going to happen with a 15-day break, but more about the 5-day break of no practice, because we sent them home as soon as we found out that the game wasn't going to happen. So, like I said, they approached it the right way. They came back prepared, refreshed, I think really appreciative of having extra days at home with their families, because we've had a lot of years where there isn't there's very little time, maybe 72 hours, and that's it or less.
Right here up front, Coach.
Stephen Crow had 20 of his points after halftime. Was it just a matter of feeding the paint a little bit more, or just what was the difference in him in the second half?
Well, I think you're seeing a player grow up in front of your eyes in terms of maturing and understanding how good he can be. I thought his teammates did a good job of finding him. We started really well. I think we started 5 of 7 in the paint, and then we only went in there 3 more times the last 12 minutes of the first half. And, we go from having a bigger lead to having a tighter ball game at halftime. In the second half, I thought we made a concerted effort consistently to play through the paint. And, Steve was a recipient, and he finished plays. I thought he's playing more physical, more confident. Like I said, just growing into what I think he can be. And obviously knocking down threes is another weapon. When you got a 7-footer that can score in the paint and make threes, and you get teammates that are finding him, that's a good combination.
Chris.
Yeah, Coach, you've talked about Steven's confidence and kind of how that's developing over the season. I think at times you've mentioned you're a little bit more confident in him than he's been. What does a performance like this do for that, especially going into Big Ten play here?
Well, it shows most importantly to himself that he can do it, and he can do it at a high level. So, 25 points on 13 shots, yeah, it's a pretty good night. So, he's going to he'll play bigger guys. He'll play guys that are as physical or more physical. I thought Western Michigan was physical. I thought it would be as similar to a Big Ten game in terms of physicality, and it was. But I think he understands how effective he can be in there. And like I said, our credit goes to his teammates, too, for finding him and putting him in position to have success.
Jeff.
Dwayne said that after trying to dig down or double crawl the first couple times, he kicked it out. You guys hit threes. They said, forget that. We're going to, make him score. But he is such a good passer out of the post. And the way he can find open three-point shooters, are you comfortable that this team should be you can't hit them every night, but a consistent three-point shooting team on most nights if the right guys take them?
I think if the right guys take them and the right ones. I mean, every team in the country probably shoots threes better coming inside out than the ball flying around the three-point line and not going in the paint. And I think we proved that the first half. We had thrown it in. You mentioned they came to double him. He threw it out. We knocked down some threes. And then we got into a situation where we weren't throwing it in, but we were still shooting threes. And they weren't the same quality of threes that we had made previously. But for Steve's point, to be honest with you, I want him to be more selfish. I think he throws it out sometimes too much. And so it's trying to find that balance. And I know he's, that's one of his great attributes is his ability to pass and his comfort with the ball in there in traffic. So we're trying to find, you got to be aggressive and we want you to score. And then if you feel that you can't, then you find guys. But so like I said, I've encouraged him to be more aggressive.
Todd.
Greg, your defense forced them into, I think, 3 shot clock violations in the first 12 minutes, something along those lines. What were they doing well there, and did something slip after that point, or did you still feel pretty good about the way things were going?
Yeah, I mean, I'll look through the film and evaluate each possession. But, I thought we did a good job of when there was dribble handoffs or dribble exchanges that we were able to stop the ball. We've been good at exchanging a lot of that or switching it, so we got the ball stopped in dribble penetration. Like I said, I mentioned earlier the tough twos that I thought, the first half, a couple in front of me that I thought, there were some mistakes. We got screwed up in transition a time or two and gave up open threes, and sometimes that leads to offensive rebounding. But, in the second half, 1 or 2 times we didn't get the ball stopped on some type of ball screen action. So we'll look at that on film. But by and large, I thought we kept them out in front of us pretty well, and then you force a team to play the percentages of taking those type of shots. And over the course of 40 minutes, it usually, rolls in your favor.